والصلاة والسلام على عبد الله تعالى ورسوله سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. وبعد، حياكم الله تعالى ورضي الله عز وجل عنكم وأدامكم بكل خير وستر وعافية وأمن. Again, it's our pleasure to have Brother Shahid with us tonight, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him tawfiq and guide him for the right all the time. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. I don't know how can I thank him because of his helping and serving the community everywhere all the times. Sometimes we are enjoying our AC and air condition over here, and he's suffering the sun outside just because of the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing else. And that's in itself, it's enough for him, to really appreciate him and his efforts and what he's doing. I have nothing to say except جزاكم الله تعالى خيرا، وأسأل الله أن يبارك لك في أهلك ومالك وولدك وأن يحفظ عليك العافية، اللهم آمين. And I don't want to waste your time. Enjoy your time with Brother Shahid. بارك الله فيكم. The microphone with you.
جزاكم الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Can you all hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما ينفعنا يا رب العالمين. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us what benefits us and to benefit us with what He teaches us and to increase our knowledge. Allahumma ameen. And inshallah, we consider this a beneficial knowledge, ilm nafi, because you learn something here and then you go practice it outside. You know your rights, you know your obligations, you do that. That's going to be beneficial for you. And then in order for us to all to become good citizens in this beautiful country. May Allah bless it. Allahumma ameen. First of all, I wanted to thank our host, Sheikh فضيلة الدكتور الشيخ أحمد أبو سيف على هذه الضيافة, for this generous hospitality, and thank you all for coming out here and taking time out of your weekend. You could have been doing something else with your family, but you chose to be here, so jazakumullah khair for that. And I welcome you all. Thank you very much. I would love to meet every one of you after we're done, inshallah, for those I don't know, and to say salam to those we do, inshallah. Just a little bit about myself. Some people ask, who I am and what's my background and my credentials and everything like that. I've been a police officer since 2001. I am the first police officer that speaks Arabic in the Dallas County area in East Texas. I also ran for sheriff in 2020, and I'm also running again, inshallah, in 2024. Instructor and the in-service training coordinator at the police academy. I've been doing that for a few years now. And I'm also a firearms instructor. I teach self-defense. I teach defensive shooting. I'm an advanced instructor at the police academy. I teach license to carry, or the LTC, formerly known as the CHL, and also private security instructor. I'm the co-founder of the Mesquite Islamic Center, alhamdulillah, and I'm currently the vice president there. Alhamdulillah, I've been honored to be serving the community and be involved in community service since I became a police officer, and I would do it all over again. So inshallah, in about 23 years or so, if Allah, gives us long life and healthy life, inshallah, I'll continue to do it. I'm also the masjid security trainer for the DFW area. So all the masajid security teams, and from here to MAS, to EPIC, to INT, to Valley Ranch, to ICI, and beyond, I trained a lot of their guys. So far, we put 14 classes, and we're starting class number 15 for masjid security. Which is a great service. Most of them, probably 99% of them, are volunteers. So it's a great community service that we do, inshallah. Just about this topic. This is a presentation is not to represent this institution. This is just general knowledge from the law and from my experience as a police officer. This presentation is not a political campaign, and it's not any legal advice in here. This is just general knowledge, like you said. The topic could be extended for hours at a time, especially with Q&A, and everybody has a question about a certain topic. We only have a limited time, so we'll try to be as brief and knowledgeable and spread as much knowledge as we can. Q&A is going to be at the last part of this segment, inshallah. So if you have any questions, write them down or just put them on your notes or something, and then I'll probably answer them as we go. And if not, we'll be happy to take your questions later on. So today's topic is going to be about police encounters and traffic stops. Who here has never been pulled over by the police? 1, 2. You because you just started driving, and you because you're a careful driver. Every one of us, you know, we're guilty of it, which is, it's not a comfortable feeling, right? It's not a comfortable feeling because Ammo, please, Habibi. If you want to play, bring me a balloon. We'll play here. Okay, so this is not a comfortable feeling, but a lot of people have a question on what can I do, my rights, my this, my that, and I'm going to explain to you my perspective, or our perspective as police officers, what happens when we pull somebody over, and the things that we look for, and also we understand how it is from the perspective of the citizen, because we, on the other hand, we get pulled over too. I just got pulled over actually last week, or this week, so I know the feeling. My assignments right now, I'm in patrol, and I also do CID, which is investigations. I'm also the training officer for the department, and also being a trainer in the academy, so I have a lot of training experience when it comes to new officers. So one thing people ask is, who are police officers? So let me ask you a question here. How many types of peace officers do you think there are in the state of Texas, just in Texas? Not how many officers like personnel, but types. How many would you say? We know the sheriff, we know the constable, state troopers, police, and what else? So if I tell you there was 35 types, it's 35. And that's according to the Code of Criminal Procedure, or what we call CCP's Chapter 2.12. If you want to look it up, and you can, I'm going to list them here, but I'm not going to go into so many details, but this is good information to know. So they are, first of all, sheriffs, their deputies, constables, their deputies, marshals or police officers, okay? Like I am known as, I'm a police officer, so my license, but the license that we carry as peace officers, it says peace officer. So whether I'm a state trooper or hospital police, our license is the same thing. Now the functions and the duties might be a little different from here to here, but the license itself, the initial training is by the Commission on Law Enforcement, has to be the exact same. Also, rangers, officers that commissioned by the Public Safety Commission, investigators by the DA's office, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, the ones that go inspect and do like inspections on alcohol and bars, etc. Investigation, let's say by city, county, school police, hospital police, airport police. There's the railroad police. There's the DART police, like the transit authority. There's the port police. The park and wildlife. There's the rangers. There's so many different types. So going through this screen here, county parks, rangers, investigators by the racing commission. You know how when they go do like the NASCAR type racing, you know, there's police officers for that. Investigators that do investigations on that. Also, the peace officers that are licensed by the pharmaceutical, you know, they handle pharmacies and pharmaceutical issues and, you know, drugs and stuff like that. Also, Metropolitan Rapid Transit, like DART police. We know who DART is. They do the Dallas area rapid transit. Those are peace officers as well. And yes, they can pull you over. They can write tickets. They have arrest powers just like any other officer. Officers that are working for the Attorney General. The lottery police. There's a police officer, police agency for, or law enforcement officers for the lottery commission. There's also for the appellate court. There's also for the fire marshals, the juvenile police. There is also for the Attorney General's inspector's office. So many types. So we're here right at 30, and we're not done yet. The dental examiners, the medical examiners police, okay? There's also the board of, for example, investigators that are by the Juvenile Justice Department, fire marshals. So there's a lot of them. And I haven't met every single one of these people. Like I met a bunch of them, but not so many, not all of them. So powers and jurisdiction of police officers. In the state of Texas, a police officer, unlike other states, right now I'm not working, I'm not on the clock with the police department, but I am a peace officer 24 hours, 7 days a week in every county, every city in the state of Texas. So if I go from here to Laredo, to McAllen, to Texarkana, to Amarillo, I have jurisdiction in all these areas. Like there's no limit. I'm on duty or off duty, or I'll work for this agency but not there. We all have powers and authority in everywhere in the state. The other thing is the power and jurisdiction of a police officer. like we said, in some states, once you're off the clock, you're off the clock. It doesn't, you can't be a police officer, or you don't have any functions. In some countries in the Middle East also, it's the same thing. Here, it's the same thing. It's not. You're an officer whether on duty or off duty. Patrol officers that are most known to the cities or to citizens. Major police agencies have the luxury to have all these units. Some small departments don't have them, but in generally speaking, they are, the patrol unit, which is what I do. And you see the green part here. A lot of officers that wear the green part, that's what means the patrol. The red means the traffic, and some other units mean SWAT team, and like a bunch of other divisions. But too many colors to remember, to mention. You have the bicycle unit, you have the air unit, which is the helicopter. You have the vehicle patrol, which is most of us what we do. Mounted patrol, the horse, they ride the horses, etc. Marine patrol, which is the lakes, the harbor police, and also you have officers that do foot patrol. And sometimes it depends on the city and the need, the deployment is there. Some divisions within law enforcement, you have the 911 dispatch, you have SWAT team, you have CID, which is the criminal investigation division, which I've done that for a lot of years. You have the cyber crime unit, you have the community policing, you have internal affairs. That way, if a police officer, for example, does something he's not supposed to, he will be investigated by other police officers, like ranking officers. Like, hey, for example, if some officer got in a shooting, involved in a shooting, or in a complaint by a citizen, that's not going to go on, it's not going to be not looked at. It's going to be investigated. People think that, the police will stick together, complaint is not going to go anywhere. Wrong. I've been complained on, and it's not fun. People will complain on, I got people complain on me for my short hair. Like, I have no hair. They complain on me. They say, he's racist because he shaves his head. So people complain on anything and everything, and these things will be looked at. Some of them are silly, like that, what I just mentioned. Some of them are, they have more weight. So they all look at. And so in the tools that are used for patrol, of course, we have, in order for us to be able to function properly and not, and be able to communicate and do our job, properly, we have to have patrol cars, because we can't walk from, 2-3 miles to go to a call, or on a bicycle. It's, it's not practical. We have computers, we have radios, lights and sirens to help us go through the traffic, to go through intersections, and to stop people, to get people's attention, etc. And also we have the prisoner cage, which is in the back of like behind me, behind my seat, there's a cage with a window, and that's to prevent the prisoner that's sitting in the back from attacking us, because sometimes they'll try to take over the car, they try to take our guns from us, etc. So we put that just to divide the good guy from the bad guy, so to speak. Some of the things that we also carry are, long guns. We carry medical kits, tourniquets, medical bags. A lot of us are trained in the medical field. I mean, we know how to stop the bleeding and everything like that. So that's part of the things that we do. The other thing is, some of the things that we wear on us for our protection is we wear a body armor. Some of it is outer, some of it is inner. Like the one I have on me right now is on the inside. I also have some that you can wear on the outside. Those are more comfortable. Of course, we prefer them better. We also wear what's called the duty belt, which is what you see on me right now. And it contains, gun, pepper spray, baton, magazines for the gun, radio, taser, handcuffs. And then recently we started adding tourniquets to stop the bleeding in case we bleed, or somebody else, an innocent victim or somebody else, then we use that. So those are some of the pictures of the items that we carry. Not necessarily these exact same models, but just to give you an idea on what they are. All right. Of course, we all have to carry gloves. Like on the back of my pouch here, in my belt, I carry gloves. Of course, for medical reasons. Sometimes we search people that are not very clean, or cars, or we touch drugs or something like that. We have to have something to protect us from it. And sometimes we have to wear like 2 layers of gloves, latex of gloves, medical gloves, to stop whatever it is from poisoning us, etc. Also, we have on traffic stops. This is A lot of people consider this the most important thing, and I get a lot of people on a lot of questions, a lot of people ask me questions on. Malish Balai, please, it's really distracting. I'm sorry. The law gives us authority to stop and conduct traffic stops and pedestrian stops, etc. on people. And we can stop somebody for as small as a busted taillight, or maybe something bigger, or something like that. So we use the traffic code and traffic stops to catch the bigger fish, if you want to say, like the bigger crime. I remember my first robbery suspect I caught was because he had a broken taillight. And I stopped him, and he was in the car. So we never know what we can find, what we're going to end up, stopping or coming in contact with. The other thing is, the traffic stop proper conduct is you have to stop as soon as it's safe to do so. And this is important for the women. I want you to understand this one. As soon as it is safe for you to stop, go ahead and pull over. And I don't mean slam on your brakes in front of the cop as soon as you see the lights on. You can cause a crash like that. Pull over to the side, use your turn signal to indicate that you're going to stop. If you think that stop is not valid, or that officer is not a real one, we're going to talk about that, and there's a procedure you can handle that. But let's say you got pulled over by Saxy or by Dallas, wherever you end up going, right? Or by me, you never know. What you're going to do is you're going to have your documentations ready. Driver's license, handgun license, whatever it is you have, insurance, have them ready on the steering wheel, and wait for the officer to come to you. Roll down your windows, turn on the lights on the inside, especially if it's at nighttime. Officer would like to see what's going on inside the car. It's a safety issue after all. That way, you go home quick, we go home quick. Like, we don't have to, prolong the stop more than it needs to be. Also, don't make any sudden moves, because that can be perceived as you're trying to hide something, or you're trying to pull something to hurt us with. And if you've been around any law enforcement, or if you've been seeing any, especially nowadays, what's going on in the news and the media and whatnot, a lot of police officers get killed every day. To the point where I don't even take my morning band off, because it's, an officer gets killed every day. So I just keep it on, because it's a sad thing to happen, right? So the possible outcomes behind with traffic stops, it could be as simple as verbal warning, have a good day, be careful, slow down, whatever. It could be a written warning, good. It could be a citation, okay? It could be an arrest. It could be an impoundment of the vehicle, meaning your car will get towed. It could be also additional charges that may come up. And all that, not in every stop is going to end up with that. Of course not. I mean, I didn't have to do a lot of these on traffic stops. A lot of them, probably the first one or two. The warning and maybe a citation. Arrest, yeah, of course, that happens. Impoundment of the vehicle, yeah, if I arrest the driver, I'm not going to keep the car on the side of the road. I'm going to have to take it. So I'm going to impound it. Additional charges may come up. Maybe the guy's wanted. Maybe I found, while I searched the car, incident to the arrest, I found drugs. I'll charge him with that. Maybe the passengers of the vehicle, if I end up running their names and they're wanted, they can end up, getting citations, go arrested, etc. It could be a lot of things. So these outcomes are not strictly or exclusive to the driver himself. So when a police officer runs your driver's license, what does he see? When we run your name, what do we see? So the first thing is that we see if your driver's license is valid or not, suspended, history of the suspension, etc. We'll see what class it is, class A or B or C. Are you driving the right vehicle for the right driver's license? Like, we catch people driving trucks or buses, and they don't have the endorsement for that. So that's a violation there. Or somebody riding a motorcycle with a regular class C driver's license. You can't do that. We'll find your race, your sex, height, weight, eye color, hair color, information about your physical characteristics. Because if I pull over, let's say, Brother Abdul Noor, and he's using, let's say, Sheikh Ahmed's driver's license, there's a problem there. The height, the weight, the skin color, all that stuff is different, and the computer's going to show me. And also, I'm going to be able to see a photo of the driver. So if we have people that use their cousin's driver's license, their IDs and stuff like that, and themselves are wanted. So they want to hide that, so they use somebody else's ID. So the picture will pop up on the screen. The driver's license history, violations, what kind of driver are you? We'll be able to tell. Like, do you have like pages and pages of violations, or clean record, no no issues there. No issues at all. It'll also show us if you have warrants, whether locally or statewide or on the national level. Okay, it'll show that. It'll show also if you have emergency contacts listed. Recently, it's been a thing, like we pull somebody over and we run his name and then emergency contact. In case of an emergency, who do we notify? So we run the license. Let's say we run up on a crash and the person is like unresponsive. We need to notify his family. So we run the license, and that license will tell us who the emergency contact is, usually parents, spouse, son, whatever, grandparents, things like that. And we contact them and tell them that, hey, so-and-so listed you as an emergency contact and we have them in the hospital, or this is what happened. Also, it'll show if this person has a license to carry or not, okay? Like what we call the handgun license to carry. Also, any kind of other IDs. It'll show if that person has a protective order against them. Let's say spouses fight and they have a divorce going on, or they have some issue and one has a protective order against the other. It'll show like who's the protector, who's the protectee, and who's the violator, like, or who is it against. When we run your plate, your license plate, what is it that we see? Of course, it doesn't tell me if you have a handgun license. A lot of people think that, but it's not true. It tells me the make, the model, the style. It tells me if it's a 2-door, 4-door, SUV. It tells me if it's a pickup truck. So if it's a pickup truck, but it's on a 4-door, there's a problem there. It gives me the VIN, the vehicle identification number. It tells me also the year and make, the registered owner, the previous owner. It tells me the registration expiration date, when it was registered and when it expires. And if it tells me also if the license plate is correct or not. Maybe somebody has a wrong plate on it. Maybe it's the expired one. So it'll tell me that. It'll also tell me if the vehicle has insurance or not, and who is the name of the insured, list of the people that are on the insurance. What insurance company is it with, the policy number and all that. So if you don't have your insurance card on you, it's okay. We can pull it up from the computer. If it's with like one of the bigger companies. Some companies don't list them on the computer because they don't want to pay that fee, but some of them do. A lot of companies do, like the majority of them do. So it's better also to have a copy with you. If you have it on your phone, that's good too. We can use that. It also shows if the person has any warrants or wants or anything like that, any attachments. Is he wanted from a different state, from local, from somewhere else? It'll show that. It'll show. Also, if it shows if the person has, if he's a registered sex offender, if he has a protective order against him, things like that. Does a police officer have the authority to ask the driver or the passengers to exit the vehicle? What do y'all think? Can I, on a traffic stop, can I tell you, I want you to step out of the car? Can you refuse? No, you cannot refuse. There's been a Supreme Court case on that. It's a famous court case referred to as Pennsylvania versus Mims, if you want to look that up. And you can order the driver out of the vehicle. In another court case, Maryland versus Wilson, which is a state trooper pulled over this guy last name was Wilson, and of course that's how the cases came up. But he ordered the driver to come out, and he had drugs on him, and then they tried to fight it and say, well, he didn't have a reason to pull him over, to ask him out, which the officer also can ask the driver or the passenger to remain in the vehicle, exit the vehicle. It's up to him. After all, it's a safety issue, right? So yes, the officer can, if he wants to pull over somebody, if he can ask him to step out. But it's not a common thing. Can you please, with that baby? Amo. You can ask the driver to exit the vehicle, or you can tell him to remain. And the same thing goes with the drivers, or with the passengers as well. Okay? So one other thing, and then we're almost done with this, and then we'll open the floor for questions and answers. So we'll get to answer those. There's something that's called the 7-step violator contact. Something that we have to do, and it's not the law, but it's a policy. That it's a practice that we do whenever we pull somebody over. The first thing is we greet the officer, good morning, hello, whatever. In some cases, salam alaikum. We see some hijabis or some imam or somebody. We've done it a few times. So a greeting of the officer, and also I identify myself. Hey, I'm Officer Muhammad. I'm Officer so-and-so. The reason for your stop is, okay, so we tell them why we pull them over. So your reason for the stop is speeding. And sometimes we mention the speed, 75 and a 50 or whatever it is. We ask them also, we ask you for your driver's license and your insurance. We don't ask for registration. That's in the movies and other states. We don't do that in Texas. So driver's license and insurance, that's really it. And recently I haven't asked for insurance much because I run it on the computer before I pull it over, and I see it. I state also the course of action. Like, okay, you're gonna be issued a citation, or I'm gonna write you a warning. So we go back to the car and we do the action that we did, give them the citation, and then, or the warning, and then release them. And that's it. Now here's a question that comes up. How do I know that this police officer or this vehicle that has lights and sirens behind me, especially for women, I get a lot of questions on that. How do I know that this officer is a real officer, is not a fake one? So if you doubt it, and of course almost everybody has a cell phone now. What you can do is you can actually call the police, call 911 or the non-emergency number, or faster to call 911 and say, I'm being pulled over by this vehicle, I'm on this street. Is it legitimate or not? They'll tell you yes or no. Okay? And of course, when you do that, make sure that you have your flashers on. That way the officer knows that, are you going to pull over or not? We've had females that would drive for like a mile and a half or so until they get to a well-lit area, gas station, populated area, let's say a parking lot with a lot of people. That way, in case something happens, you have witnesses and maybe somebody to help in case it turned out to be a would-be kidnapper or a bad guy. So, because if they see you that you're paying attention, if it's a real person, if it's like me, I don't care where you go, I'm going to go after you. If I'm fake, if I'm not a real one, if I see that you know what you're doing, I'm just going to go find another victim. So, whatever is safer for you to do. And we can't fault you for that because you're feeling unsafe about the situation. So, you can do that. Also, head to, let's say, a police department. Sometimes the dispatch will tell you, go to the nearest police station. Where are you right now? I'm at the intersection of, let's say, 78 and Ben Davis. Okay, we want you to turn right and go all the way down to the Imam's Academy and park over there, and there should be a lot of, for example, I'm just hypothetical, right? Or keep going straight to the police station and wait there. And an officer will be waiting for you. So it could be a lot of these options. So dispatch will tell you where to go. Can you record the stop as a police officer? As a civilian? The answer is yes. You can record it. We have them also on our body cameras, which is I normally carry it. Didn't have it on me now, but we actually carry body cameras on ourselves, and they record as soon as we start their contact. And you can have copies of it if you want. You can come back and copy, get a copy of it. You can also copy on your own phone if you want. The one thing that we ask people not to do is don't shove the phone in my face and say I'm recording you. It's not good. So if you want to record from a distance, you can do that as well. The other thing is a lot of people they want to come up on the scene and record police officers as they're doing their job. That can be a violation of the law. That can be interference with public duty. And, a lot of people end up, going to jail because they violate the law. And they're like, you want to record, you can do it from a distance, but you cannot come up on the scene and say, oh, so what's going on here? And I'm investigating what you're doing. That's a police matter right now. So we can't have people jump in and start doing that. The other thing is, the most important thing also is in this one here is to remain calm whenever you call the police. Because if you're not calm, we can't understand what you're saying. Dispatcher is not going to be able to, or call taker is not going to be able to understand what you're saying. So it's important to take a deep breath, or two or three, when you call the police and you tell them what's going on, where you at, give them description, details. That way we know to send officers to your location immediately. Because if it takes the call taker a long time to calm you down, it's going to take us a long time to get to you. Okay? That's as far as that. Now, there are, and I'll end with this. There are some, before I go to that, how do you describe a subject, for example, a person? Okay, you just start from the top to bottom. You go with, bald. You go with a long sleeve shirt. You go with blue pants, blue shoes, whatever it is, other description. Facial hair, he has a beard. Let's say describe that. He's wearing glasses, he's wearing this. So start from the top to bottom, okay? Start from the top to bottom. And also you start from left to right, okay? If you can, depending on what it is you're describing. Top to bottom, left to right. Start your description. It's important to give this information because if we're looking for that person that's wearing, you know, red shirt and blue jeans, we don't want to stop somebody that's wearing something different. Or let's say, say it's a white male, but it ends up being something else. We want to be able to get the correct description, if you can give it, you know, at all. All right, we're doing good on time, so we'll end with this before we go to the Q&A. There are some myths that some people think about, you know, police. I get a lot of questions on this. Do you make commission off of tickets that you write? No, we don't. I'd be in a mansion with like 100 acres of land and a lot of cows and camels and that's all. No, we don't. Not even the city that writes, that issues that citation gets money off of it. Most of it goes to the state, to the government, to the facilities, TxDOT, the Department of Transportation. The city only makes a few dollars off of a citation. It's not really a money maker for them. Like, it's not if you get a $500 ticket, it doesn't mean all that $500 is going to go to the officer in the city. The officer doesn't get any of it, of course. It would be unethical to begin with. But then the city gets a small portion of it. Police don't have to meet monthly quotas. Those are illegal. Like, I get a lot of people, oh, well, it's the end of the month. You got to finish your book. That's not true. Because I hear this from people all the time. It's not a correct, it's a myth. We don't have a book. We actually do them on the computer. Some departments do them on the like a book, but I don't have to finish it by a certain time. That would be illegal. So if I say, hey, officers, I want you to go and write, 30 tickets per officer each day, that's illegal. And that's not. Now, what we say is, we would want the officer to be, go for 8 hours or 10 hours without doing his job, without pulling, making contact. They're like, what are you doing for 8 or 10 hours? We need to see productivity. And plus, if I'm pulling people over and if I'm making contact with people, that's going to drive away the bad guys. Okay, because I'm going to stop their opportunity, or I'm going to stop the opportunity from being handed to them by officers who are lazy, not doing their job. If I'm contacting somebody, if I stop you and you and you and you and you, bad guy's going to see this activity going on. They're going to go somewhere else. Instead of going to your neighborhood that's very safe, they're going to go find somewhere else if they can. So the other thing is, can you refuse to sign a citation? So a lot of people say, I don't have to sign it. Well, you do. Because by signature, you're putting your signature on there, all that is you're saying is that you're promising that you're going to contact the court to take care of the citation. It's not saying you're guilty. And if you read at the bottom, it'll say not a promise, not a plea of guilt. Promise to contact the court. That's it. And if you fail to, it really depends on the officer and how he wants to handle it. If you refuse to sign it, the officer can actually take you before the judge. Means he can arrest you and impound your car and take you and all that stuff. Or you can just sign it and get it over. Some officers just put refuse. That depends on certain things, like department policy. It depends on the officer, So I can't speak for everyone. With me, for example, if you don't sign it, I'm going to take you with you, because you're saying you're not going to go see the judge. So that means you're going to bail on the court. So I'm just going to take you right now. And again, it's different with each officer. Those are some of the biggest ones that I see, that I hear from people ask me these 3 questions. But no, the answer to all these is no. Okay. We'll open the floor for Q&A. We'll take a few questions before the Adhan time. I know the outcome is in a little bit. Give you some time. We'll start with you, sir.
My question was, what happened in Texas where you get pulled over while on probation?
Probation for what? It depends. If it's a traffic violation, that would probably hurt you when you go to court the next time, and that probably can show. But if somebody's on probation, like for probation, if he has a violation, he needs to go to jail, and he has a warrant, he'll go to jail.
Yeah, let's say if he has a violation for DL permit or something.
Usually those, depends if the officer writes a ticket for it and it shows on the computer that you got a ticket, it's not going to be good. Yeah. If let's say that person gets issued the citation, is going to show up on his computer. Depends also where they at. So if you're in Colorado and you get a ticket here, it's probably not going to show up. It depends on where, but yeah, those It depends really on where. I can't really speak for every agency, but it'll depend. Yes, sir.
So how can you determine if the officer is overusing his power? I mean, you don't know really this. What's his limits? So what do you, I mean, is there any like red flags you would advise us? Like, okay, if you see this, you do that. I mean,
So, all right. So this really goes to the knowledge of the law and what the officer wants to do about that. Like, we have one of the most important tools that we have as peace officers is discretion. Discretion. The officer does not have to write a citation every time he pulls somebody over. We don't have to, and I don't even have to write tickets at all. I'm not required to. In my department, I mean, they say, well, I don't care if you write, but go out there and make contact with people. Like, you got to go out there and do your job. So if the officer is, for example, writing every person for 1 mile over, which is still illegal for that person to go 1 mile over the limit, but if that person is like, is it abuse of authority? I'd say it's probably a little too much, because the norm is not really that. Even though there are some agencies that will write you for 1 over. But if the officer is doing something, if whatever he's doing is within the law, then that's within the law. Now, if I'm putting everybody in jail for not having their driver's license on them or for expired tag, then yeah, that's too much. And departments don't want that. Departments don't want that. But if it's something bigger, of course, and if it's within the law, usually, so our pool here that we dive in is the law. Like, we have our parameters is within the law. Anything outside of the law is we can't do. So the officer has, okay, so good question. The officer has the discretion to have you exit the vehicle or not. We only can detain somebody if we have reasonable suspicion about something going on. But every person that comes out of the car doesn't mean they're going to go to jail. Now, if somebody's coming out and he keeps his hand in his pocket, he's yelling, he's being disorderly, he's doing a lot of suspicious movements and activities and furtive movements, what we call like sudden moves and whatnot, that's a safety issue. Now, I have to contain you until you're not a threat, because it could get out of hand really quick. So an example of that, there was in California a day ago or so, I was watching this video. This guy walks up on the police and he just protesting why they're arresting somebody, and he pulls a gun and points it at the officers. So, and of course they responded to that with deadly force. So we don't know what somebody can be up to at any given time. So I don't know if that answered your question, but as long as it's within the law, parameters of the law, then we're good. Yes, sir, you had one. We'll take one more and then we're done. Yes, sir.
There's no option for the officer. So why is like transferring police, like they're kind of motorbike, 10 of them?
Yes.
Starting on the highway, just give tickets back and forth.
It's enforcement. Sometimes, there's a season for, especially when it comes to holiday season, a lot of drunks, a lot of reckless driving and whatnot. So we step up the enforcement for people to slow down, for the safety of the community. I'm sorry? Yeah. I mean, it's all over. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll shoot the radar, for example, and I say, hey, red car or red pickup or whatever it is, and they'll go after it and ride it for it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I have a question. What is my right when I'm driving along and I see the officer car? I'm not allowed to pass the car?
You are. Okay, so very good question. Okay, so can I pass a police officer? If the police officers go in the speed limit and you pass him going, 90 plus, no. If he's going 40 and the speed limit is 45 and you go 45, you're good. Okay, I mean, we have people pass us, like they don't see us and they go like super high speeds, and they get cited for that. But you have to slow down. Let me just touch on something. When you see a police officer, a first responder, tow truck, something with flashing lights, you have to slow down or move over to the next lane. You slow down 20 miles below the posted speed limit. So if it's 70, go down to 50 if you want to stay in the same lane. Otherwise, move over to the next lane. Yes, sir. Is it mandatory to have your driver's license? It is mandatory to have your driver's license on you every time that you're driving your vehicle. If you're not driving, no. But it would help us to know who you are in case something happens to you and let's say you get hurt or you get injured. We want to know who you are. But it is the law to have the license on you because you're required to have it. Just like you have to have your license to carry, for example, if you want to carry a gun in certain areas. Let me take some from the ladies. Yes. I guess you were sleeping when I said that, weren't you? What is the answer for that? Yes, you can. Yes. The answer is yes, you can. Yes, ma'am.
How far are we able to drive after?
Guys, sure.
How far as a driver are we able to stop when we hear sirens? Like, I don't feel safe when I'm being pulled by the driver. I'm like, can I go further when there's a light or?
Yes, yes, you can do that. But here's one thing: don't speed up and look like you're fleeing. Just slow down, turn on your signals, and kind of motion to them that I'm pulling over here. That way, they know that you're about to pull over. So that, and if you don't have to do it for a long distance, don't. Most areas, especially here, they're well lit, and you have people, and you have what do you call it, like businesses and crowd and whatnot. So it's rather safer in some areas than others. Yes.
As far as search warrants?
Yes.
Like, I know you have the right to search our vehicles, but do we need to have a search warrant? What's the incident?
Okay, good question. So on searches, I can search if I have probable cause to do the search, meaning that I have a reason to believe that a crime has been committed or is about to be committed or is being committed presently. Let's say I pull over a car and then I smell marijuana. That's illegal in Texas. So I can do the search. I don't have to have a warrant for that. If I have a warrant, then the warrant will describe where I'm going to search, what I'm going to look for, etc. Or if I ask you for consent, do you consent for a vehicle search? And you can say yes or you can say no. I have people say this, I have people say that. So it's, it's up to you.
So if I say no, will you still be searching or you need to have?
If you say no and I don't have a reason to, I can't violate your rights. So the answer would be no, I can't. All right. Anything else from the ladies before I take one more? No? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Yes.
How do we know that the police is coming behind us?
I'm sorry. Can you say again, please?
How do we know the police is firing for us? Like, we are driving the
Yes.
So how do I know that the police is firing for me, not the other person?
So you start moving over to the side. So the question is, how do I know if it's me who's being pulled over or not? Yeah, with lights and whatnot. Move over to the right. If he's continuing to be behind you, then it's probably you. So that's how you know. One last. We got to finish up because we have it then. Yes, sir. We're not required to show it. So because we can't argue on the side of the road, it's unsafe. Sometimes we show it, sometimes we don't. And it can create a problem whether we show or not. That's if you want to, no, that's calculation, but it's different. But we use LiDAR or we use radar. There's two different types. We use the gun one or we use the mounted one that's on the dash. One last one and then we're done. Shh, guys.
But these cars are totally unmarked. Like you see the car, like the only thing that you see there are flashing lights on.
Yes.
Looks like
Those are ghosted. Those are used for, yes, a lot of agencies use them, and a lot of agencies use them. So it's those are called ghosted. That way they have some kind of decal that doesn't really show, or they don't have any at all. And those are used really for crime suppression, used for traffic enforcement. So you'll have some of those. You'll see them. Anyway, that was the last one. I'm sorry, I can't take any more. We are done. I can talk to you after, but right now we got to finish up for the salah. Jazakumullah khair. Ladies, if you have any questions, I'll come talk to you. I can give you my number. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me later on if you don't. Jazakumullah khair. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa baraka wa sallam. Jazakumullah khair.